A very good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on pharmacovigilance on the occasion of 4th Foundation Day of Open Pharmacy Federation. Today's topic of webinar will be live on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm Mini Shiu, Director Content and Creativity of Open Pharmacy Federation, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we begin, please be sure to type all your questions into the question box. They will be answered at the end of each session in the Q&A part. First, I'd like to share about the primary organization participating in today's event. Operant Pharmacy Federation is a scientific, educational, and professional non-profit organization committed to promote the highest professional and ethical standards of pharmacy and norms by primarily focusing on the pharmacy profession. OPF is involved in exploring the different facets of the pharmaceutical industry by supporting the causes and issues related to the pharmaceutical education and other health sciences, covering all the major aspects with the inspiring vision. Celebrating the 4th Foundation Day of OPF today, it gives us a sense of pride and awareness and a reminder of our past and brings in mind our achievements. To formally welcome us all in this auspicious and most significant event of the year, I'm pleased to have Mrs. Sushmita Chatterjee Kushwaha. Mrs. Sushmita is currently working as a senior manager in Aristo Pharmaceuticals Private Limited, Mumbai. She has an expertise of 14 years in scientific as well as regulatory affairs. She has excelled in MSc Biophysics with distinction from Mumbai University, as well as a distinction holder in Business Management Studies, which she has completed from Wellinger Institute of Management, Mumbai. She has graduated with double major subjects in microbiology and biochemistry from the prestigious St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. Along with excelling in academic and extracurricular activities during her education years, she has always been an ardent reader and also has a flair for writing. A very warm welcome, ma'am. I now request you to proceed with
Good
session
evening.
today.
Thank you, Minu. Yeah, yes. Good evening to everybody present. It's actually an auspicious occasion. 4 years completion is a feat by itself. Yes, to commemorate the event, my topic for today is pharmacovigilance. An overview. We won't go too much deep into it, but since we all know present here that it is a booming concept, anybody in the pharma sector or in anything allied to drugs or material pharmacovigilance would know the word pharmacovigilance is the in word as of now, right? So I would just, before we begin pharmacovigilance per se, I would like to ask why do we need pharmacovigilance? The need for pharmacovigilance, we all know it's inward, but what is it actually? Why is there a need? The need is that, first of all, it can be said that on humanitarian grounds, we need pharmacovigilance, meaning that when we take a drug and when we are, for example, we are sick and we do have to take a medicine. So dying from the illness may be obligatory, okay, if it's a terminal illness, but dying from a medicine is definitely undesirable. For example, the classic thalidomide disaster, which was the very beginning, which marked the start of pharmacovigilance. That is why I'm trying to link it with the humanitarian concern. Like thalidomide was a drug which was launched initially to take care of, to manage anxiety disorders, sleep disorders, and to take care of morning sickness in pregnant ladies. So actually, thalidomide was known as a sedative as well as it had antiemetic properties. But what happened was, after administering this drug, this especially in pregnant ladies, around 1961, there came many reports of the child of the pregnant lady who had taken thalidomide. They developed birth defects. I think around 10,000 embryos had been affected, of which 40,000 children born at the time of birth died eventually, and the 60,000 children, 60% of those embryos which gave a successful birth developed some malformations in the limb or in the eye. Okay, some part of the body part was malformed. So that was in such a huge case, around 10,000. So there was an immediate action taken by the European Union, and they discontinued that drug for pregnant ladies. Of course, it is yet approved in US for many allied indications, but we all should note that this thalidomide disaster in 1961 marked the need of pharmacovigilance. That means we need to keep an eye of every drug even after it is launched, because there are many adverse effects which may be serious in nature, which is realized after the launch of the drug. But of course, the second aspect is the economical concerns. That is, when we are taking drug, we would want the effect. Okay, it should have the positive effect for which we are taking it, but we should not fall sick because of it, which will lead us into hospital administration. So, and it should not lead to some other side effect for which we need additional drugs. So, additional cost is also coming into the picture. So the need for pharmacovigilance is to be in a healthy state even after taking the drug, right? So next we move how pharmacovigilance is coming into the picture. We all know that during the drug development, the first few stages, okay, the preclinical research which is done on animals, they only look for some of the aspects of the drug like acute toxicity, organ damage, dose dependence, metabolism, and kinetics, and many more. Once the drug is started on humans, on clinical trial, human clinical trial, okay, there are three phases in the development phase of the clinical trial, which is phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. As we can see from the chart, the patient number is very less, right from the range of 20 to till 400. There are also some trials which go on till around 3,000, but by and large, it is understood that it won't be more than 3 to 5,000. And if you can see, if you know, the global population is in billions and more than 100 billions. So to compare this small population data with the population of the globe is actually a further research needs to be done. So the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, which goes on for around a couple of years in very less number of patients, is not the right method to know the adverse events which may account later on, because the clinical trial, once it's over, after the phase 3, the drug is then launched in the market, or it is gone for approval to the drug controller. The drug controller then approves the drug and asks the company to conduct phase 4 studies. And in the phase 4 studies, the safety issues are determined by the market authorization holder. And then he also says the drug.
Just a second, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah,
ma'am,
hello,
your presentation, it's not visible.
it's not visible.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am,
I
it's
can
not
hear you.
visible.
Not at all. Uh, this one, you can see.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, can you try presenting, like sharing the screen once again?
Yeah, sure. Is it seen now? Is it seen now?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Were the earlier
Okay.
slides also seen?
I don't think so. Like earlier, it was like presentation was not visible.
Okay, this one is visible, right?
Now it's visible.
Okay, okay. Yes, we were at the juncture where we discussed that at the
Yeah, it's
preclinical
visible. Now you
research
may
stage.
continue.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yes, at the preclinical research stage, when the animals experiments are done, the the consideration is given mainly to the the pharmacokinetics, especially involving the metabolism, the dose dependence, the toxicity. But once the drug enters the clinical stages, that is on human clinical trials, involving phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, the number of patients, volunteers taken for all the three phases range from 20 to a few hundreds. It may also go for 3 to 5,000. Okay, and the clinical trials don't go for a long time. They are at the most 5 years, and then a follow up is also done. But that does not give us the actual adverse event profile. The entire adverse event profile of a drug is not known in a clinical trial phase. After phase 3 trial, the company who has registered the drug would go for the approval for the drug authority. The drug authority will give the permission to the market authorization holder that yes, you can manufacture and market the drug, but submit the phase 4 trials, which involves the safety parameters, safety and efficacy data. And then there are PSURs conducted, that is periodic safety update reports, and active post marketing surveillance data. Why is the need to conduct these studies after the drug has been launched? Because we understand that the clinical trial data definitely must have looked into all the aspects. a, a small yes, but a big no also. Because as I mentioned earlier, the patient profile is less. The time for each phase is just a couple of months to years, does not indicate the entire side effect profile. Once the drug reaches the market after approval, once the global consumers start consuming the drug for their particular disorder or disease, the drug shows many more new side effects, or probably it may have a known side effect in a greater quantity. This happens because the population is filled with different kinds of people. Okay, their genetic makeup is different. Indian population would be different than the Western counterparts. So we may have a different, our body may react differently to a drug which may be approved in the West. Also, once the drug hits the market, the patient, for especially for a chronic disease, the patient would take it for a number of months, probably for several years. This long term usage is not checked or not conducted during the clinical trials. So, what happens to the drug if a patient takes for around 5 to 10 years? Does it have any other new side effect? That's how we come to know in the pharmacovigilance. Another aspect is when a trial is conducted, it is conducted in healthy individuals. They are not patients. So, when the drug is administered to a patient, it is understood that the patient may not be taking another medicine at the same time. So when at the post marketing stage, patients may develop new adverse effects because the patient may be concomitantly taking other medicines, due to which there may be a drug drug interaction and there may be a side effect. Okay, see, we all know that drugs definitely have side effects, or what we say adverse effects. No drug would be totally efficacious without any side effect. But what the need of the day is that the benefit of the drug should outweigh the risk associated with the drug. We want more benefit than the side effect. That would be the ideal drug for us. So there comes the concept of pharmacovigilance, where the name has been derived from a Greek and a Latin word. The pharmakon is derived from the Greek word which means drug, and vigilare is derived from a Latin word which means to keep a close watch. So ultimately, pharmacovigilance is nothing but keeping a close watch on the drug after it has been launched in the market. And this launch product has to undergo pharmacovigilance activity throughout a product's life cycle. That means from the development, of course, the clinical trial stage is of course being monitored, but even after the drug has been launched in the market, it has to be kept a close watch for any effects, side effects, positive, negative, both. Okay, so the WHO has defined pharmacovigilance as the pharmacological science and activities relating to the monitoring, detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of ADRs, that is, adverse drug reactions, or any long term and short term medicine related problems. Now, before we go ahead, there is a slight difference between adverse event and adverse drug reaction. Like before I entered this segment, I think everything was known as side effect. Anything which is not desired from a drug is known as a side effect. But once a person enters the scope of pharmacovigilance, he understands that there's a difference between side effect, between adverse event, between adverse drug reaction. For example, adverse event, which is seen in blue, okay, it's a bigger picture. Adverse event can be any obnoxious or anything unwanted side effect of the drug, okay. For example, a drug X, it is giving me a headache. So for the patient, it is an adverse event. But in pharmacovigilance, there is a difference between adverse event and adverse drug reaction. In pharmacovigilance, we say only when the drug is known to cause the adverse effect, the negative effect, it can be called as adverse drug reaction. But when we are not sure that the some other symptom which has arisen after taking the drug, then we are not sure whether the drug is causing it. There is no causality known between the drug and the symptom. It is called as adverse event. For example, I may take a pill of, for example, for headache, and the patient who is taking the pill may develop stomach cramps. So for him, the patient may say that I took this pill and I have got stomach cramps. It is the side effect of the drug. No, it is termed as an adverse event, which may not be linked to the headache pill. It is, there are a lot of analysis to be done, after which if it is proven that that pill has caused stomach cramps, then only we call it as a adverse drug reaction. So when it is proven that the drug is causing that particular side effect, it is known as a adverse drug reaction, where we can pinpoint on the drug. Now, another term known as side effect. Okay, side effect is can be positive and negative. Okay, it need not be only negative. When we talk always side effect means negative. No, side effect can have a positive aspect as well as negative. We all know the negative part, but there can also be a positive part. For example, the classic example which everybody in the pharma industry knows as of today is sildenafil, which was initially being trialed for reducing blood pressure, but it was seen in the clinical trial that it helped to induce penile erections. So, therefore, Pfizer, which was conducting this clinical trial, they repositioned this drug for treatment of erectile dysfunction. So, that side effect of penile erection was actually positive. It gave another indication to that drug, and that side effect became a positive. So, not all side effects are bad. some of the side effects can also have another good reason for a good indication. Yes, ADR is a adverse drug reaction. I know much of us would be surprised because we always assume cardiac reasons to be the number one, and ADRs are never heard of. But ADRs are the sixth leading cause of death worldwide. For example, in US, 3 to 7% of those patients who are having ADR, they require hospitalization. So it's that serious. And in UK, the percentage is not very far, but yes, 1%. So we can imagine the picture when it comes to India. India, we know the population, and we are the fourth largest producer of prescription drugs in the world. So we can calculate how much the incidences would be for ADRs. But we know that in India, the literacy is less, even the awareness is less for pharmacovigilance, so it may not be reported, be known exactly the statistics. This next we come is for signal detection. We all know what is signal, right? Green means walk, yellow means wait, and red means stop. We all have seen this signal at every day of our lives. But what does signal mean in a pharmacovigilance concept? Signal is nothing but a information, a reported information which is given from the consumer or from the physician to the market authorization holder or to the regulatory authority. That information which says that for a drug X, my patient has got XYZ symptom. Okay, so of course, the relationship is not known at that stage and it is not documented at that stage, but it is reported. Okay, now that report, when it comes to the regulatory authority or the market authorization holder, that one of their products is showing a XYZ symptom. So the first thing would be, is it a new signal? That means, is it a new ADR? Because we all know all drugs have do come with their package insert, which gives a list of the entire product information, and they also list down the adverse drug reactions in that leaflet. So it is to be understood whether that adverse drug reaction which the doctor or the consumer is reporting, does it fall under under one of the ADRs already listed? That means it is known. But if it is new, then that is a very useful signal, because when such new information, a new ADR is obtained from the consumer or the physician, and many such ADRs come together, then this would lead to a very good information signal detected, and it can be added in the package insert, and of course they have to report to the regulatory authority. Now it also may be that the patient is a lot of patients on cardiac pills may show a detrimental effect. They may get angina pain. So if many such cases arise all over India and it is reported to the DCGI, that is the regulatory authority, then DCGI would be compelled to take action, that either it comes with a warning or whether the product should be banned. Is it a product specific issue or is it the molecule issue? So based on analysis, which we won't go into deep today, the DCGI would require whether the product should be there in the market, and if it is there, then if but does it have to have a warning on the carton, or does it have to be totally prohibited? So that new information is very important for in pharmacovigilance. Another aspect is additional information. Now, as I said, a pack insert already has a list of information, but sometimes, for example, a drug X which is used for example, angina pain, okay, that causes headache, it may be a known adverse event seen with that drug, it is listed in the pack insert, but the frequency may be 1% as per the clinical trial reports. But once the drug is out in the market and many people are coming that once this headache is now being getting reported for more than 10% people. So now you're getting new data. That means it is not as less common, it is not rare, it is not uncommon. Now it is coming under the purview of very common. So this gives you new information, additional information for the drug. So let's understand how this framework works. Who reports, who assesses, and who decides? The people report it. That means you, I, doctors, pharmacists, everybody can be a come under the reporters. Anybody who is taking the drug, that is the consumer, or anybody who has given, administered, prescribed the drug can also be the reporter. They can report to the authorities or the market authorization holder, and from there the evaluators will then evaluate the causality analysis and what is the risk associated of that symptom with that drug, and then the decision is made whether the package insert needs to be amended with that new warning for an adverse event, or a new warning has to be printed on the carton, or whether a schedule has to be changed. We all know that the Drugs and Cosmetic Act have lot of schedules where drugs are listed. So more serious drugs are listed in Schedule H1. So probably there may be a shifting of schedules, a risk management, or does it warrant a market withdrawal of the drug or a product recall altogether. So the idea of the regulators are that there should be reduced morbidity and mortality with any kinds of medicine. And for that, WHO has many publications, a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, or they have a safety monitoring booklet, which gives encompasses any drugs and their side effects at length. Pharmacovigilance, it started in 1962. For to say in USA, they revised the law regarding safety and efficacy in 1962. In 1963, the British committee came up for safety of drug monitoring. In 1964, the UK started the yellow card system or the reporting system of ADRs. In 1964-65, the National Adverse Drug Reporting System started in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, West Germany, and Sweden. In 1968, the WHO Collaborating Center for International Drug Monitoring was launched at Geneva. And by 1978, the WHO Collaborating Center moved from Geneva to Uppsala, that is at Sweden. So that's how the timeline is internationally. And the pharmacovigilance of India came in India. Of course, there are a lot of Ayurveda history which goes into pharmacovigilance, which is not well known. But to talk of the well known official start of PVPI, it started in 1986, where the Adverse Drug Reaction Monitoring System for India was proposed with 12 regional centers. In 1997, India joined the WHO ADR reporting program in Uppsala at three reporting centers, that is AIMS New Delhi, KEM Hospital in Mumbai, and Aligarh Muslim University at Uttar Pradesh. Then in 2010, the PVPI, the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, was initiated with AIMS New Delhi as the National Coordination Center for monitoring in the country. And in 2011, this National Coordination Committee shifted from AIMS New Delhi to Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, Ghaziabad. So, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, which is known as PVPI, is coordinated by the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission today, IPC, and it is conducted by CDSCO, the peak regulatory authority in India. So IPC maintains the database and also updates it, consisting of suspected serious ADRs. They have their own softwares, which is the WHO has given the software, where all the adverse events, ADRs, adverse drug reactions, have to be in E2P format, and it has to be sent to WHO through using the app Vigiflow, and WHO stores the adverse drug reports in their database called Vigibase. So, what is the PVPI mission? The mission of Pharmacovigilance Program of India is to safeguard the health of the Indian population by ensuring that the benefits use of medicine outweigh the risk associated with its use. The objective is to create a nationwide system for patient reporting, to identify and analyze new signal from the reported cases, to analyze the benefit to risk ratio of marketed medications, to generate evidence based information on safety of medicines, and to support regulatory agency in the decision making process on use of medications, and of course to promote rational use of medicines. So the communication goes from healthcare uh, or the professional or the physician to the ADR monitoring center. The list is uploaded on the CDSCO website, where the South Zone, West Zone, East Zone, and North Zone ADR monitoring sites are mentioned. The list of hospitals and the doctors associated with it. Those zonal offices, they collate the data, and then they send it to the National Coordination Center, IPC Ghaziabad. At the IPC, they collaborate with CDSCO, then they compile the entire data and they send it to Uppsala Monitoring Center, Sweden, which is the WHO panel. So that's how the communication from the grassroots, like right from the consumer, it reaches the international database at Sweden WHO IPC. Yes. So what is the mode? How do we report for a patient, layman person? How does the patient report? So the modes of reporting are either the suspected adverse drug reaction reporting form, through which we can report the ADR. These reporting forms are available at IPC website as well as the CDSCO website. It can be filled and submitted to any monitoring center or directly to the National Coordination Center. Or the form can also be mailed at the pvpi.ipcindia@gmail.com. Now, a person may also choose to call directly. So at the toll-free number on weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And with technology advance, DCGI IPC have also come up with a mobile app for ADR. So this is how the ADR form looks for a healthcare professional. It reads what medications have been prescribed for which drug, what is the batch number of the drug, how much was it prescribed, that means once daily, twice daily, what was the strength, what is the manufacturing date, expiry date, was the patient taking any other concomitant medication, etc. Or did he stop the drug? What happened after that? So all these data is given in the adverse drug reporting form for the healthcare professionals. The second form is much more simpler. It is for the consumers. So this also can be downloaded, filled, and submitted. It also has likewise similar aspects of ADR reporting. As I mentioned, the helpline number and the PVPI mobile app. The form, just to mention that these forms are available in vernacular languages also, so that certain regions of India, they may not be well versed with English, so they can report at any other like Tamil, Bengali, in regional languages, right? So that the patient feels free to report. Yes. So what is the criteria? Does any ADR get reported, or does it's only special or very serious ADRs which gets reported? So the criteria is that life-threatening event or death after taking a drug is reported, or if the patient has landed up in the hospital after taking a particular drug, the patient has taken the drug, and probably she's a pregnant, and after giving birth, the child may have congenital anomaly because the drug has crossed the placenta and has caused malformations in the baby fetus. Yes, then it is medically significant event that is decided by the physician, or even a lack of efficacy. That means if a drug is to take care or manage a particular disorder, and if it is unable to do so, that also comes under the purview of reporting. Then all suspected drug interactions, all known or unknown, serious, non-serious, frequent or rare reaction caused due to use of vaccine or drug must be reported. When to report? So, for the market authorization holder, it is said that as soon as they get any information, the case has to be reported within 10 days. It can be any arbitrary phone call which we get on a toll free number, and we have to start making we have to take action immediately and report to DCGI within 10 days, because what looks small or small event to us may actually be a huge event at the DCGI. They may have got several such ADRs at their end. So everything has to be reported. All suspected ADR should be reported as soon as possible. This we have already talked. And in case of death with any product, it has to be reported immediately, and serious events need to be reported within 7 days. In case of non-serious cases, it can be reported within 30 days, because reporting delay may create serious problem. So as soon as a company or ADR monitoring center, they get any ADR reporting form or any information, they have to start taking action immediately. And how do they assess whether the product is associated with the particular side effect? WHO has given the WHO Causality Assessment chart, which there are a lot of people involved, the physician, the pharmacological pharmac guys. Okay, they assess, they evaluate based on the causality. Okay, so they are based on these criteria, they come to know that either the drug is certainly associated. Okay, they term the drug under certain, or probable, where we are not sure but it may. Okay, probable or likely, or it may come under the possible clause, or unlikely, or conditional, or unaccessible, or unclassifiable, where it is not known till the end whether the drug has caused the side effect. We won't go too much deep into it because the analysis is quite elaborate, but a take home message from this slide is that this chart enables the people to understand that the drug is, what is the link between the drug and the adverse event based on their calculations, and after that they can place the drug under any of these uh, columns, like certain, likely, possible, unlikely, etc. Another one is that this WHO causality assessment gives a time relationship between the drug use and adverse event. It shows the presence and absence of other competing causes, whether the person is taking any concomitant medications. Also, it has a criteria. What happens if the drug is stopped? Okay, that is called D-challenge. Does the adverse event go away? So that they also analyze in this. And what if you again introduce the drug? That is re-challenge. What happens? Does the adverse event come back? So that is what has been assessed in the causality assessment. The next, another type of scale which is taken into consideration is Naranjos algorithm, where there is a questionnaire provided to the patient, and based on its response, whether it is yes or no, the points are provided, And after the final calculation, they grade the medicine into either definite, probable, possible, doubtful. So if the drug gets a score of 7, then it falls under the probable category. So these were the formulas used for causality assessment of the drug to the ADRs. So what happens once the drug is confirmed to be causing a side effect, or in what we say adverse drug reaction? What does IPC do? IPC does give a drug alert. It tells CDSCO or DCGI that this drug is able to cause a side effect, and therefore DCGI has a website on the net, and it gives a list of drug alerts. For example, if we see that in the month of November 2020, they have given a list of drugs, that is a generic name, and what are the batch details, which company and which lab has tested it. So based on this, it is said that we can be alert because of lot of drugs are known to cause side effects. The second action taken by PVPI is they give a recommendation. Okay, for example, I have chosen that IPC PVPI have given a alert for artemether-lumefantrine. So, what is that alert? What is the recommendation given? It is said such type of circulars come, which we will see. Yes. Over here we can see that Government of India has given this circular on 19th of June 2019 for artemether-lumefantrine, which has been seen to cause Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Now, this side effect has been collated, nationwide, and therefore the DCGI has said that the signal has been detected for Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Therefore, the prescribing information leaflet needs to be changed. That means Stevens-Johnson syndrome should be incorporated as an adverse drug reaction in the package insert of the drug artemether plus lumefantrine. So these are the suggestions which the drug controller gives to the manufacturers of all manufacturers of this combination. Likewise, they give for all these drugs. Wherever they see a good number of signal is detected, they release such circulars so that the market authorization holder can tell their manufacturers to make sure that when they have the pack insert, they insert that adverse reaction into it. And the extreme can be that the product has been banned by CDS. If the side effect is death or serious life threatening issues, then DCGI may totally ban the product. Okay, so we get such type of list of banned products at the DCGI website, where the data has been generated nationwide saying that this either does not have rationality, or the drug may have serious side effect due to which the drug has been banned. So these are the actions taken by the drug authority after they have collated the signals based on adverse drug reactions. So, of course, it is a beautiful step towards patient safety. But in India, as we know, there are a lot of challenges because due to lack of awareness and also illiteracy, this many of the side effects goes unnoticed. It is thought to be okay. It'll just pass away. Pass away. It's not to be reported. So one of them is gross underreporting. Second is manpower. For conducting such a huge nationwide program, there is scarcity of manpower at DCGI, PVPI, IPC, as well as not all physicians would want to be part of it. They already have a big schedule, okay, and even the regulatory inspections are not that much because as per PVPI, inspectors are scheduled to visit each and every company to see how their PV activity is going on. Do they have a PV center or a department, or whether there are spurious drugs in the market. So these inspections are required. Otherwise, lot of local companies, they copy the good brands and they get substandard drugs into the market, which may have deleterious effect on the patient. Okay, so that needs to be checked, and we need sufficient amount of inspections. But due to less manpower, there are not many inspectors who can come and have a check to all the pharmacies of India. And then another aspect is that not all ADRs are recognized by the physicians. It may go unnoticed and may eventually lead to death of many patients. And in India, we all know how the pharmacy works, right? A lot of patients, they either self-medicate or they switch from prescription only medicine to over-the-counter medicine. And we all know that the local pharmacist guy, that although they have been instructed not to provide prescription medicine without a prescription, but we all know very little has is being followed. So because of this, there is a roadblock, but nevertheless there is a chance and there is a huge hope of going ahead. And we can all contribute towards going ahead into pharmacovigilance and making this a true success. And I'm sure that how in abroad they are very vigilant, in India too there will surely be one day where this will come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sushmita. It was a really enlightening and informative session as you gave a general overview on pharmacovigilance and briefed us about the scope of pharmacovigilance subject. Um, so with this, one of the audience had asked a question on what is the scope of pharmacovigilance in India. You had already mentioned about the various centers that are located in India. I personally wanted to ask you in terms of a career, like what is the scope of pharmacovigilance in our country?
The scope is very bright because, as I said, it's a booming industry. Like when we started our careers, pharmacovigilance was not much sought about. But from the time DCGI has become serious in terms of pharmacovigilance, the DCGI has, in fact, last year kept so many pharmacovigilance officers who are assessing the files for the companies who are giving their PV reports. So that shows the seriousness in DCGI office. And when they are serious, automatically the companies and the CROs who are dealing with pharmacovigilance need manpower to for conducting PV reports. For example, pharmacovigilance department in any company would have to look into the periodic safety update report. That means now all companies are having lot of product launches. After that, immediately after the license has been received, the product has got launched in the market, it is obligatory for the company to conduct periodic safety update report. The company may choose to have their own assessing abilities to generate ADRs. If they are a full-fledged PV department, then there needs to be a manpower in the department to assess the ADRs obtained from the physician or from the consumer. Or the company may choose to outsource to a CRO, a clinical research organization who specializes in PV activities. So the manpower, the need is the highest currently. And as of what the trend is, what I am seeing is every new graduate in M Farm, B Farm, they are graduating towards pharmacovigilance because everybody has understood that right now that is the need of the day, and this is not going to come down. It's going to slowly progress.
That is really true, ma'am. Ma'am, is there anything else you would like to mention or share with the audience before we close the webinar?
Uh, I would only like to say that every drop makes an ocean, and every ADR leads to a robust pharmacovigilance system. So since we all are from the pharma sector, we all need to come together to make sure that the pharmacovigilance program of India is a success. And also, again, I would like to wish a lot of many more such Foundation Day to Operant Pharma Foundation. Yeah. So all the best to you all.
Ma'am, there's another question by one of the audience. He's asking what are the main skills that a B pharmacy should have to get the job in the
Job
pharmacovigilance sector?
in pharmacovigilance. Okay. So first of all, right now the criteria is not any certificate specific. An M Farm and B Farm, and even for that matter, an MSc or BSc in life sciences can come, but the preference is more for the pharmacy graduates in the sector of pharmacovigilance. So as of now, there is no additional certification required. It can be an on-job training, but with the coming course of days, which I'm seeing very evidently, that they may need to have a additional certification in pharmacovigilance. There are many websites which are providing a certification course on pharmacovigilance, which gives overview of the PV activities all over the globe as well as in India. That would be an asset because, as I said, the need and the demand is growing exponentially in PV. That is one of the booming areas of pharmacy, and for that to stand apart from the crowd, a certification in PV would help the candidate to get a job faster than a person who is not having that certificate. But nevertheless, in today's date, you may get a job even without a certification. Being a postgraduate in pharmacy is enough. Even a B Farm is enough to get into PV sector.
One person is asking about best consultancy for private pharmacovigilance jobs in abroad, and also some pharmacovigilance courses and institutes so the placement is secured.
Consultancy, I'm not too sure which is the best consultancy for pharmacovigilance, because ultimately lot of companies are having their own PV, so we can directly approach the company and the job can be got. Regarding the certifications, there is one at Uppsala Monitoring Center website. They have paid as well as free online course on pharmacovigilance. So people who want a certification, want to get a startup for pharmacovigilance knowledge, can definitely try the site on Uppsala Monitoring Center, Sweden, which is conducted by WHO. They have their certification courses which can be also taken free of cost. You also get certificate after the completion, after you complete with more than 80% of marks. And of course you have a paid certification also on that website. Apart from that, there is James Lind University. Online classes are taken after payment. Certification is received. It is a postgraduate diploma in PV. Even in India, there are certain organizations who conduct PV courses, after which they give different type of certifications. The person may go for a 3 month course, 6 month course, 12 months, or 2 years. So depending on that, they have various modules. So the person has to go to that website. For example, there is one igmpiindia.org or .com, which gives many courses. So pharmacovigilance is a course in them, and it has an elaborate what you say syllabus. It gives you what is going on in US, what is going on in UK, in India, what is to be done. These are all the available resources for a person to gain knowledge in PV, and it will be an advantage because the ones in India, as I mentioned, IGMPI India, they provide career guidance, and probably they have their own placements also.
Another one viewer has asked which country has the maximum pharmacovigilance scope and opportunity.
Definitely the US and UK. There is no country specific, but as a continent, US and UK are very vigilant. Of course, after that, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, they are very good, but the best is US and UK.
Okay, all right. Yes, we've covered most of the questions. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering all of them. I would
Thank you.
like to take this opportunity now to place on record my hearty thanks to Mrs. Sushmita, who spared time from her busy schedule to grace the occasion as she shared her own ideas and style of explanation for everything. I must mention my deepest sense of appreciation to Mr. Vikram Chaudhary, the founder and director of Open Pharmacy Federation, for giving me this opportunity and kind support. Thank you all. I hope everyone learned from today's webinar and gained something. It was a great pleasure, ma'am. And let's hope to see again in our next webinars. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks again.
Thank you, ma'am.